live right now, so.
Oh, hi, wherever. I'm so select.
And I didn't ask you, is it Carlier?
Carlier.
Carlier. This is Jill Carlier with the Titanic Book Club. How was the brunch?
It was fantastic.
Wonderful.
And Commodore Ever, we all got to sit at the captain's
Oh,
table.
okay, very good, very
We were
good.
treated like royalty.
Oh, yeah.
We all had trouble figuring out what exactly we wanted to eat. And then he honored the 112th anniversary of Titanic, and he gave
wonderful.
a little.
That's
And he mentioned the Titanic Book Club, which was so nice.
That's wonderful.
We have been treated like royalty ever since we walked in the door.
I wish I had been able to come on board yesterday. I had a family thing yesterday, but
I know.
let me tell you, this morning has been just an absolute disaster area.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But it's good. I'm glad you showed up. Oh, I love your pen.
I have some pins. I didn't want to
my
wear
goodness.
them all. This is a Harland and Wolff. Okay, I've been collecting pins. I thought, it would be fun some year to do a pin exchange. Like
Right.
they do at Walt Disney World. And Don Lynch told me he has hundreds of pins. And I said,
Figured.
oh, well then, we could be like, hey, you want to trade pins?
So you were talking about the book. Let's see.
Yeah, this is a gift that I'm giving Steve.
Oh, my God.
Because it's History and Recipes of America's Golden Age of Railroad
Oh, my God.
Cuisine.
Wow. Take a look at this.
And you can tell them why.
So I was telling her about the fact that I own a railroad car, and I will have a kitchen built into the railroad car. So I love recipes from the 20th century dining car service. This is incredible. Wow.
Oh, are these your followers over here?
This is a live chat. Yeah.
Hello. The Titanic had no punkaluvers. I don't know.
No. Punkaluvers were not.
What's a
thing in
punkaluver? Is
1912.
that something that the Queen Mary had?
So in your cabin, the little round,
We're in the
adjustable.
King George
Yes, the
cabin.
King George. Yes, the little adjustable round vent that you can turn it to hot or cold.
Oh yes,
That's
we do
a
have
punkaluver.
those.
Yeah, that's a
That's a
punkaluver.
punkaluver. And there's a sad face. Oh wow. So do they work?
So some rooms do, some rooms don't.
Okay.
They were in the midst of changing the whole air conditioning system on the ship, so that you had individual controls in the rooms and all that. They only got about halfway through. So some rooms, if it's not a converted room, it will still have a
Okay.
punkaluver. Otherwise, they're turned off.
Okay.
And-
Yeah, we weren't sure if they worked.
Yeah.
But our portholes, we've had nice cool air coming in. But my roommates are a little bit concerned that a bird might fly in.
And that I was just talking. Somebody
But we
that
heard
happened to
it's good luck
somebody.
if a bird flies in and poops on your.
Oh my God! I can't even imagine what it would be like to have a bird fly into your
Yeah, I
room.
think that would be good luck, right? I think my friend Michael thought it would be good luck.
It's probably not so easy to get rid of them, but
I did see a bird out. Yesterday they had a big sign that you couldn't walk out all the way out, and this morning the sign was gone and the pylon was moved, and I got some great pictures, and I got the beautiful seagull. He was saying my little buddy, but when I got back, my friend said, Jill, I think the sign fell over in the wind, and you weren't supposed to be back there, but it's still beautiful up there.
So tell me about the Titanic Book Club.
So the book club was started by George Beatty and I. He's an author and Titanic historian, and we knew that he's an author, and we knew that there was lots of books written on the Titanic, especially around the anniversary, where people just put out books to make money off of Titanic.
Sure.
And there's a lot of non-factual information. So we thought, why not start a book club so that we can actually talk about and focus on factual Titanic history. People do bicker about things that, really made in the grand scheme of things isn't really a big deal.
Right.
But we're just, we like to learn. We love history. And so we started this. So the book club is almost 6 years old.
Wow.
And we have 2,000 members from over 33 countries.
That's great.
If you go to our website, we have a tab that has our map, and we have 401, which was Titanic's number.
I saw that the other day, about 401 members. Yeah, that's great.
Members listed on the map. So we might have people in other countries, we just haven't mapped them yet. So that was exciting, and we also had a Titanic book club for children that we kind of put on pause. But last night I met some people with kids interested in the book club for children, so that might be because children are amazing and they remember facts and details, where our minds still
So have you? So I have the book, a Polar, the
The
Titanic Bear.
Titanic Bear.
Yeah.
And his mom had written that, Douglas Fedden, and she wrote the book on board. And Douglas Fedden survived the Titanic, but
Right.
then he was killed just a few years later in the first traffic accident.
Yeah, the first
One of the
fatal
first-
traffic accident in Maine, I think it was.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Somewhere back east.
Yeah.
But as a little boy,
It's so sad.
it is very sad, very sad. But I was just pointing out to some people that Don Lynch played his father.
He did.
Yeah.
He played Mr. Spinning,
Yeah.
and then if you remember the movie, Douglas was the boy spinning the top,
Spinning the top,
and Don
right.
was there.
Yeah.
When Jack went and stole the coat.
The coat, yes. Yeah,
I asked Don a few years ago, "Hey, can you still wear that?" And he said, "Jill, no."
I've been. Shoot, I had a question. Well, let's go back to the beginning. You had a movie premiere that you had at a theater on Friday night.
Oh yeah, so we went to see The Unsinkable. It's about after the Titanic sank and the inquiries. If you don't have the book on the inquiries, you can go to the Titanic Inquiry Project. I think it's TitanicInquiryProject.com, and you can read all the inquiries, and you can actually
Is this
search.
covering both the Senate inquiry in the United States and the British one? Or
That's a great question. I think they have both sides, but off the top of my head, I can't promise. I don't remember. It's been a real long time since I read them.
is the movie available? Can you rent it? Can you see it online?
I think it's going to go online
Okay.
because it was only in specific theaters. Hi, Joe. And
Joe.
Joe and Joe. Sorry, guys. So I think, the producers of the film wrote the Titanic Book Club
Okay.
and wanted to meet and talk with us, but we've been so busy planning this event, so we hope to, and I think it'll be more fun now that we've seen the movie,
Right.
to meet and talk with them. Because if you follow the Titanic Museum, members of the cast were at the Titanic Museum in Pigeon Forge this weekend, so they all watched the movie and then they got a Q&A with the cast.
Oh,
Which
wow.
I think they did a great job with the inquiry part. There were some things like I said, oh, I think I might have to fact check that. I had those moments a couple times. My memory isn't the greatest.
Right.
So with that-
I keep shooting myself in the foot. I remember getting the letter from the Titanic Historical Society offering all of the membership if you want to come down to Rosarita Beach, to be an
Right.
extra.
Oh, you got invited?
And I had to say
Oh,
no.
that
I
was-
had another job. I had to go to Iowa.
Wow.
And I wish I had turned that job down because that was a horrible thing.
Wow,
To upset.
so you could be.
I could have been in the movie, but yeah.
Hey, there's a list of people that almost got on Titanic.
I almost was
so
in the
you're
movie.
one of the
Yeah.
almost extras.
Because I see all the little behind the scenes video of them like sliding down the decks and everything. I was like, oh my god, that would have been so much fun to be a part of that. But
And
no.
Judy talks in her book about they made her, jump off a high dive.
Right.
And then Ellen talks about
this is the dilemma.
somebody's drowning her in the water, and she says, "Stop! Why?" And then she looks, and it's Leonardo DiCaprio. He thought she was a mannequin, and she said, "It's not every day you get almost drowned by Leonardo DiCaprio." But we're having them with us today, so that'll be exciting.
Yeah, that'll be fun. This is the dilemma I have because I've had to divide up my time between like doing something for the ship or doing something ship related.
Right.
And then I have the railroad job. So I got contracted to do this position for a special excursion train in Iowa, and I couldn't do it. I mean, I couldn't accept the job to go down to Rotary Beach.
Oh man, you gotta just divide it. Sometimes you just can't be everywhere.
Exactly,
Every
yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
You just do the best you can, and
Wow.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I know, and you know what? And my friend Michael Richmond, said, Jill, if you're going to be on the Queen Mary, I would appreciate if you looked into her history. And I spent a lot of hours, and I feel so excited because I grew closer to the ship.
Yeah.
Titanic drew me into her as the passenger stories.
Yes.
So it's not. I mean, she's a beautiful ship and everything, but it's the passenger stories. So, but Queen Mary has drawn me in with her stories as well, and she's a beautiful. I've spent a couple hours this morning just walking around and looking
Wow.
how beautiful she is, and I said to Everett last night, gosh, he had a lot of Queen Mary books. Maybe I need to start a Queen Mary book club. He said, there's a lot of people out there.
So somebody's been gathering some information about Queen. Whatever books are out there that the Queen Mary has been brought up, in the storyline. Maybe not even a significant part of the story of the book, but at least maybe has a chapter. There's a lot of war stories where they were, the character in the book traveled on the Queen Mary to Europe. Uh, what bringing them into the war. And so there's a lot of books. I mean, there's lots of books out there. So I can imagine there's got to be a lot of Titanic books.
Oh, there's hundreds and hundreds, and we do try to discern and help people discern. Times are hard. People don't have a lot of money, so
Right.
our goal is also to help people save them from, because they'll come in and say, I bought this book, and be excited, and sometimes I don't want to criticize anyone or make anyone feel bad about their purchase, but others will pop in and say this. They do try to be kind, and they try to point out why it may or may not be accurate, which
Yeah.
I think people appreciate. So, because even the movie, people were upset that they used fictional characters to tell Titanic's story, and James Cameron had said, well, I needed fictional characters in order to show the whole ship.
Right.
There is no Titanic passenger that ran around from first to third, here and there. So you had to make someone up so
Right.
that you could help people see how beautiful she was and see all her run into the engine room. I mean, no one did that.
Right.
So, we have to forgive, and then they never marketed it as, this is the.
If you
Although
went,
Don, was the historian for the movie, and he's here, and and he was, and when actually Don was telling us at brunch this morning that they used his book Titanic and Illustrated History, James Cameron, to try to get the licensing to do the movie.
oh really? Okay. Wow.
So that was great, and and Ken Marshall got involved and said, hey, this is, because they were both historian, official historian, and visual historian. So
Yeah.
it's in order to sell the idea, because they have done some great, and it's still, even though it was written so many years ago, one of the most factual books. There have been more like On a Sea of Glass that really bring in more details, but it's still a very important book with factually and visually that people just love.
Right.
Hold to their heart.
Yeah. Wow.
But if anyone was interested in what books to get, I would recommend George Behe's On Board RMS Titanic, because the book is filled with letters from passengers themselves. Passengers getting excited about getting on board. Passengers that were on board, and passenger after the sinking. So you are reading first-hand accounts.
Or the testimony that was given after, where they were survivors that gave testimony after the sinking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and these are letters that they had written to friends and relatives.
Ah, okay.
So it's not necessarily, because sometimes a survivor could give their story to the news, and then the news could skew it a little.
Yeah.
Or they could tell their story a little
Wait
dramatically.
a minute. Are you saying that the media actually skews information?
Even back in 1912.
Oh my God! Are you kidding me? Oh
Hey,
man.
you gotta sell papers, you gotta make a living. Drama sells, even in 1912.
Now, how many of these books that are out there are they love stories? Are they trying to follow the James Cameron, storyline of a romance on board, or?
Some people do. We, as a book club, we do not focus on fiction.
Okay.
We focus on nonfiction. There are some people who ask us if we could promote their book. There are a few historical fictions that we will promote, like David Dyer. He wrote a book about the Californian, and he really did his research.
wow.
So someone's really able to put the time, and we appreciate that.
Yeah.
If they could put the time in to really make it as historically accurate as they can. So there are some, there's people that zombie Titanic, haunted Titanic,
the Titanic
people,
666 movie. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
exactly. Right.
There are people, but then there is a love story there's a book about the 13 honeymooners that were on Titanic. So that's, they took
and real life.
stories.
They were real life honeymoon. Wow.
And then there's the story of Ida and Isidore Strauss, which they actually had in the Unsinkable movie. They had them in there, because that was such a touching love story, real life love story where you go, I go. I'm not. They even told Isidore he could get on the lifeboat. He said, "No, you're not letting that on. I'm not going." And she said, "Well, then I'm not either." But that's just a beautiful testament to love, and so we like the true love stories.
And I was gonna say a lot of the going into the lower class, like mostly second and third class, you had a lot of situations where you had passengers who were just a mother and their children traveling because their husband had left to come to the United States to start a new life, had to get a job
and save up
money so they can buy a house, and then bring the wife and the kids out. And some of them made it, some of them didn't. And those types of stories are incredible to read. Yeah.
I think that's what drew me into the story was, you sell all your belongings, you take what you have left, you take your family, and you're on the ship, you lose your husband, you lose what belongings you had left, all your money, everything. They were in their pajamas.
They were,
you know, and then now you're in a new country and you don't speak the language. What happened to them? So I was really drawn. And then Southampton, they called her the City of Widows because a very large majority of crew members came from Southampton. So the need was so overwhelming because all these women lost the breadwinner in the family. And the charity agencies couldn't even keep up with helping so many.
I think there's a memorial in Southampton.
There is.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, so we're here to honor the 112th anniversary, and we thought, what a better place to do it than.
Well, I was going to ask you if I could possibly film a little bit of the memorial tomorrow.
Oh, that would be great.
And then show that. I won't do it live, but I'll just record it, and then I can show a little bit of the memorial.
Yeah, that would be wonderful. Yeah, and we're also going to be honoring our good friend Joseph Ricker, who had an idea of building a Titanic replica and calling it Titan. And he loved the Queen Mary. He'd been on here several times. He actually had some fundraisers here, so we're going to be talking about him. And we lost our Jack Cousteau, Paul Henry Nargeolet. So we're going to be, we have some readings from some of his friends. And
that'll be great.
So these people touched our lives, and they're connected to Titanic. And yes, we would love to have you.
Oh, that would be great.
And I know you have some more guests coming.
So I didn't mention anything as I didn't want to say anything. So should I say, is Donna going to be available?
Yeah, they're all here for you.
Okay. Oh, my God. Well, then I'm going to have him sit where you're sitting. So
thank you for having me. And
thank you very much, Jill. And we'll see each other a little bit later.
Yeah, thank you for all your support. Steve has been such a wonderful supporter and really helped us put this event together. Without Steve,
oh my God, yeah.
I don't think I could have my sanity intact.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much.
And I love your shirt.
Well, thank you. I'm going to hand the mic over.
Okay, so you want me to introduce myself?
Yes, please.
I am Don Lynch. I am the official historian for the Titanic Historical Society. I wrote the book Titanic, An Illustrated History, the text, and was the historian for the film Titanic. So. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here, let's do that. Okay. And so, and I'm told to remind everyone, I had a brief cameo in the movie where I played the father of the little boy spinning the top. I played Frederick Spedden.
Hi, I'm Judy Prestininzi. I'm a core extra from Titanic, and we were on the shoot for 7 months, almost 7 months. I wrote my journal for a Titanic extra, living the legend the Journal of a Titanic Background Actress, and we're here to talk about Titanic.
And believe it or not, I too was involved with Titanic. Oh, I guess the most noteworthy role that I played during this movie was that of the frozen Irish mommy who floated by towards the end of the movie when they were searching for survivors. Oh yeah, I forgot my name. No, my name is Ellen Mower. At the time, I was Ellen Mower O'Brien.
So while you got the mic over there,
Sure.
the question I had for you, were you actresses that were offered the part to come into the movie, or was you have an interest in Titanic prior to?
Well, I think my interest really became more notable when I was there on this whole thing. However, I was not an actress. I was a medical illustrator. And this was in between different jobs that I was doing at the time. And I've always wanted to do special effects makeup. So I thought, well, this was my perfect, opportunity to see a little bit behind the scenes. But boy, oh boy, was I lucky and thankful that I actually did go and apply and was accepted, because I learned a lot. I've met a lot of really wonderful people. It was an experience I would not have wanted to miss at all.
What about you? Your Titanic experience before Titanic? Or?
My Titanic experience started when I was 7 years old, when I saw the Barbara Stanwyck 1953 Titanic. Yes. And from there, my fascination grew. And when I got into high school and figured out how to use libraries, I rented some books, like Walter Lord's Night to Remember, and I rented newsreels, film, 16 millimeter films, brought them home, showed them to my kids, and then when they found Titanic, I was glued to the TV. Couldn't get enough of the information. We watched it anytime, it was like the alerts came up on the news with, Ballard's out looking, and they're still looking, and it's like, did they find anything today? And from there, and then when we found out that the movie was being cast, I went down, and that's actually how Ellen and I first met. We were on the set together for our first call, and we actually became, what would you say, attracted to each other. We both had our classic cars that we took to Tijuana, and we left them in the parking lot while we went down to Rosarita for a whole day, and we were wondering if our cars would still be there when we came back.
And you were there for how long?
We ended up 7 months, almost 7. No.
Oh,
That day.
Right. And I was going to say, and because of that whole thing, I mean, it made a really wonderful friendship. I learned a lot. It was just, it was great. It was great.
Yeah, and then we became familiar with Don and Ken Marshall during, but we really didn't meet until the first convention. It was here on the Queen Mary.
Going along with the same story, Don.
Well, I was into the Titanic before the movie. I was fortunate my book was used to promote the movie and to pitch it to Peter Chernin, the head of Fox. And so James Cameron, I'd heard about this movie that was going to be coming out, and I thought, well, it'll be a lot of fiction. But Ken Marshall actually called the production company and explained, not knowing that they'd used the book to pitch, and that Jim had used it for that. And he talked to somebody and he said, well, if you're interested, Don Lynch and I live in the LA area. And the lady he spoke with said, we've been looking for you. And so the next thing you know, we were hired on as the technical, Ken was the visual historian, I was the historian. And we were sitting with Jim going through the treatment, the pre-script, going over things. And he had questions, things like that. Would this work? Would this make sense? Whatever. And just at that point on, I think I kind of had the run of the movie set. I mean, when I got down there, I could go anywhere I wanted. And so I got to walk the ship that looked like the 1912 Titanic. It was fantastic. And all the interior sets, they were phenomenally accurate. Everything was wonderful. It was just an incredible experience for someone like me who'd researched this for so long to be involved in this movie.
And for the most part, you actually stepped foot on Titanic.
I'm one of the few people who got to see the Titanic as it looked in 1912 by being on the movie, and then seeing it as it looked present day by going down to it. So a handful of us had that experience, which is great. So, I mean, obviously seeing the movie set was as close as we could get to seeing it in 1912 because that one's gone. But really an incredible experience overall. I'm always so grateful to Jim for letting me be involved in this, bringing me into it, and it's been fantastic.
Did James Cameron have the Titanic bug prior to the movie?
Oh, yes, yeah. James Cameron was a Titanic enthusiast. Okay. I mean, he was very much into the story. Had read a great deal about it, retains a lot. He remembers a great deal. And so he really was very, very familiar with the story. And it shows in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there are fictional elements and everything, but it really comes through. He knew a lot. And obviously for that reason has been involved in these documentaries that he's done since then.
So going along with the bug story, I've got a lot of your books. I've read a lot of your books.
Thank you.
But I don't know about you and your bug story. How did you get the bug?
Well, I think you're born with the bug. I think it's like, people don't know why they collect stamps. It's just It's born with you. It's in your head.
Yeah.
And so I think I was always kind of interested as a child, and saw the 1953 movie on TV, and thought it was pretty cool. And then it was seeing the Poseidon Adventure on the big screen, and being very impressed with the movie, and wanting to know then what were real shipwrecks like. And so I went to the library, checked out a bunch of books, one of which was Walter Lord's book, A Night to Remember, and that just grabbed me. And so I started doing some research, joined the Titanic Historical Society, actually began tracking down some of the survivors where they hadn't known whatever became of these people, and some of them were still living, and they got to become members of the society, and then eventually began organizing their conventions and events. And so it just kind of snowballed. But then when Madison Press needed to do this book, they needed someone to write the text, and I knew Ken very well, and so he was clearly going to do the illustrations and such, and so it made sense to bring the historian for the Titanic Historical Society in to write the actual text of the book. And then that went on and followed up with Ghosts of the Abyss and my involvement more recently with Exploring the Deep. And so, it's just been great for me. I mean, it's a little overwhelming at times. Like when the movie first came out, it was just nonstop publicity. But and everybody wanted to talk to the historian. I think all the actors had moved on to other projects, and here was Don. He was available, so let's talk to him. And so, but it's been an incredible ride. I've really enjoyed it. I've met wonderful people such as Ellen and Judy here, and just had a great time with it.
So, Titanic, the James Cameron movie, obviously brought Titanic back into the spotlight, to the public, the general public.
Yes.
But, throughout the last 112 years, the Titanic has been in the public mind ever since.
Yeah, it has. It sort of faded with the war, the First World War, and then occasionally would hit up in the news or whatever. And then, of course, in the 50s, first with the 53 movie, then Walter Lord's book, then the movie A Night to Remember. And then after that, like the premiere show of Time Tunnel, the initial episode, things like that. It was in the public consciousness. It's always sort of been, the, if you want to call it the cliche or whatever, where, there's always been the Titanic jokes here and there. And then, but then finding the ship really brought it to the public consciousness. And then the making of Jim Cameron's movie, that sort of put it out there where there's this constant reminder because it's on TV and things all the time.
Yes.
And then now, of course, documentaries constantly and things on, the internet, whatever. It happens all the time.
Yeah. So I'm going to pass the mic down, but before you pass the mic down, give me what you feel Titanic represents in the modern day. What brings Titanic up that we can learn from today?
Well, learning from Titanic is as you would learn from any historic event. in some ways it brought us to today. People travel more now by ships than they did, say, 30, 40 years ago.
Right.
Cruising is more popular today. And we have to recognize the Titanic helped make for the safety of life at sea. And, we now have radio watch 24 hours, which probably would have happened by now anyway. But, better life-saving devices, lifeboat drills, things like that, because it could happen, and it could happen again. And we have had, obviously, shipwrecks since then, and not nearly so many deaths in peacetime, obviously, but, you don't want to wait for it to happen again. And so we've learned a lot. It's had a big impact on the safety of life at sea. And so it's part of learning about history when you learn about Titanic. If for no other reason, it's a fascinating story, but there is a result that impacts us today.
Yeah, I agree. So, how do you feel about what does Titanic represent today?
I think it represents that man can't always control his own situations. And it was the hubris of man thinking that they were okay and they didn't have to heed the warnings that were put out for them. And it's just, it happens all the time. I mean, they think that something is safe and they just throw caution to the wind and do it anyway. I guess that's just the way human development is. You got to try it, you like it.
Yeah.
Situation. And sometimes the result isn't always nice or good. But it does help propel our knowledge into what we're doing next.
Gee, I love being last.
You can finish what we don't know. You can finish what we don't know.
Well, this is going to be a real trick, but no, I agree with both of you of what's going on and what it's helped. And I don't think there's ever going to be a time when Titanic is forgotten. I don't think there's ever going to be a time that that we learn something from it, and it keeps on going, and it's good. It's kind of like an homage to the people who were lost and the people who survived. It's a wonderful thing. In the long run, it's a good thing. Thanks.
Well, I'm glad you're all here. We'll see each other a little bit later, I guess, at 3 o'clock. Well, pleasure meeting you. Finally, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, it's Milad's fault. He turned off the mic.
So, I was telling Steve earlier, I'm one of the biggest klutzes in the world. He knows it very well, considering when I had just turned 21, I had dropped my phone off the Queen Mary.
I don't know how you ever did that.
Yeah.
I really don't.
It was a very funny story. It was a combination of wind and sweaty hands, I guess, but it was hilarious.
Oh, sure. Blame
Looking back at the moment, it was hilarious because I was on a group call with my friends, and I told them I wouldn't drop it by mistake, and I'm like, shit, and it went down there, and it was glowing in the water for a couple minutes. But that was
Wait, you can see your screen?
for a couple minutes.
Oh my god.
For a couple minutes, it was glowing down there. I was so upset and distraught, but looking back at it now, it was one of the funniest memories on the Queen Mary that I've had. It's a meme that'll live on.
I'm so relieved that the microphone, because this slipped down when Dawn came in here. Dawn slipped this down. I thought, oh my god, has it been off since the interview?
Yeah.
And see, the screen went dark, so I couldn't read the chat.
Right.
And it's way over here, and I wasn't expecting to have everybody to come, so I had to move everything out of the way.
Right.
Oh, okay. So everybody got to hear the interview. Yes, we heard the interview. Oh, thank God. Okay, wait a minute. Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
To the Queen Mary.
Cheers to the Queen Mary. Cheers to a good interview.
Certainly.
Jill was really great to talk to.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
She was very friendly. It's going to be a event, of course, to help remember the Titanic.
Because everything was going. I mean, it was so bad.
Yeah.
When you had to have your meeting, so you had to go out.
Yeah.
And so I'm here all by myself. I'm still trying to get up live.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Lots of discombobulation. But with that being said, we got it all sorted out. So
And since I'm going to stay here tonight, I'm going to actually do a video on the memorial service tomorrow.
it's
Which
tomorrow.
yes, and it's going to be in the chapel
Okay.
in the second class smoking room.
Okay.
And I've been in the second class smoking room before, but once.
I've never been in.
So remember, a lot of people haven't never been in there. So I'm going to do some video of that room.
Wonderful. Take a picture of those beautiful woods, though. That room is.
Oh, I love
known
the
for those-
fluted
fluted
panels.
wind
Oh my
panels.
God, yes.
There was the beautiful Mauritania painting there as well at one point. Lots of beautiful aspects to that room.
Yeah.
But it's a very beautiful room still, and always will be, like everywhere else on board. So much craftsmanship is put into the ship, and that's one of the things that one appreciates. We all appreciate. I mean, that's how things were back in the day with
Yeah.
design as well.
Yeah. I wish that it would be nice for that painting to actually go back.
Yes.
I would love the painting to go back.
Yes, yes.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't want to say anything to anybody because I had no idea if Don was going to actually join.
Right.
I'd hate to say, yeah, and we're expecting Don Lynch, and then he did not show up. So Jill came in here, and Don walked in, but you couldn't see him, and I was
Right.
thinking, like, am I going to do the interview? Am I not going to do an interview? But he was standing over here, and I asked Jill, I'm like, should I bring him over?
Right.
So it was an interesting situation, but I'm so glad that it worked out.
Right.
Let's see here. Don't worry. Okay, yeah. Let's see. Moonzer is on a hike with his dad. Can you believe that?
Hilarious.
Is Ozzy still on? I don't know if Ozzy's still here or not.
This weather, by the way, is fairly interesting. The rainy weather.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of brings back the vibe of how the Queen Mary was
So-
during those rough Atlantic storms.
So look at this again. Okay, so I was talking about this earlier. Look at the sun's popping out.
Yes.
So it's one of those really weird days where you can have like a downpour. It can be cold and drizzly and overcast. But right
my
now,
gosh.
the sun is popping out. So the sun is actually shining through the observation bar windows. Evan's asking, how is the Queen Mary today?
Queen Mary, she's good. She's beautiful as always. She's regal and
We're using that word now, aren't we?
regal and retired.
Mark says, I'm going, what was that? Next to the last line.
Well,
Can you read the next to last line? Mark, I'm going live on April 23rd?
damn it, their live streams.
So we must have been okay on, so we got inquired by the, was he property manager or something
Yeah.
like that? Yeah. Asking us, do we have permission?
Did Dylan,
I think we're okay.
did anyone come back?
No. That's the first time I've ever been asked about. I always thought about like, oh, we don't want to like do a lot of elaborate setup. We don't want lights and we don't want, because you actually have to have not only permission, you have to have insurance.
Yes.
But this is not a an event where you're doing it for a profit, for a business or
Right.
whatever.
Right.
I'm still a
We are voices for the
non-monetized there.
We're all, at the end of the day, we're all advocates for the Queen Mary's history and legacy.
Jill, 1 second, really quick. We're gonna try to set up the TV at 2:00.
Yeah, because I was gonna run and peek in the room right
Oh,
now and
yeah,
see
okay.
what's going on.
Yeah, it's just right down the stairs.
So just go down the stairs.
Yeah, this stairs right here, one deck
Okay.
down, and it's
All
right there.
I'm gonna peek in, and then I gotta go get dressed. We're gonna be wearing period attire,
Woohoo.
and then we'll be back.
Okay, all right. But I got the TV in the car. I left it all in the car.
Okay, do you need someone to help you bring stuff in?
I'm probably gonna be okay with that, but should I want to put stuff in the room if we can?
Yeah.
Um,
So they said we have the room for two.
Oh no, I mean the King George. Is there a way I can put some stuff in there?
Yes, of course.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, because you got your overnight. And that couch does pull out. They are bringing us a rollaway, so there's choices.
Okay, all right. That, I can sleep. I can sleep on the couch.
Wait, do you need to spend the night too?
No, but
he spends
I
the
have
night.
work tomorrow. I could if I wanted to,
Because
though.
then we could use the rollaway and the pull-out couch then.
That would
Okay.
work.
There you go. You're staying on board tonight.
Yeah.
But I have to leave early in the morning, like 11.
Oh, yeah.
I would love. No, I would love that.
Okay.
I would love that.
So you won't be here for the memorial though.
What time is it?
It's from 10 to 12.
Maybe part of it,
Okay.
because I would probably have to leave by 11 if I started. Okay, perfect. That works out. I get to stay over. We all get to stay overnight on board.
The big suite.
Right. That's great.
That's great.
When I heard he had to leave, I was like, wait, no. All right.
All right. We'll see you in a little bit.
I'm running down there.
Okay. Let me know what you find out.
Okay.
All right, everybody. I think we need to end the stream. And just want to see. I'm just curious. Coming back. Wait a minute. What's that? I'm just. Yeah, go ahead. I'm just curious to see. Oh my God, I can't read this. Okay, I need glasses. Oh. Curious. Wait a minute, is Dawson? Legends coming back. Oh, Ghost and Legends. Are you using? Oh, okay, Ghost and Legends. So I had heard there is a rumor that they are bringing Ghost and Legends back. That is an answer I can't really give for sure, but I had heard a rumor that they might be bringing it back. Okay, wait a minute. Moonser said, I got a frame for my birthday gift. You got me. Oh, good. Okay. So I gave Moonser a what they call a tea linen of the Queen Elizabeth, and I always thought it would be best if it was framed. So what was the story?
It's open. Everything's already set up.
Oh, perfect! Wonderful. Okay. All right. So
All right,
I'll
I'll see. I'm going now to get Jess. And
okay.
decorate my
So I'll
house.
be coming in there in a little bit.
Over there.
Okay, sounds great. Okay. Yeah. Okay, everybody. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream. Max says amazing stream. Yeah. I'm really stoked that we were able to get Don Lynch over here. I just couldn't say anything. I wanted to tell everybody, yeah, I'm gonna have Don Lynch on here, and I couldn't say that because, I would hate to say it and then he not show up. So everybody, thank you very much for being on here. Mark says, hopefully have lots of beer. No. Oh no. I'm beyond beer. This is not a beer day. This is definitely a little harder. Okay, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll see each other soon. Look for some more videos. Might even do a King George suite video here as well. I'm just looking to see if there was anything else. Okay, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thank you.